Did it go live? Yeah, it's going live.
Here.
Councilman Webb.
Here.
Councilman Weinke.
Here.
Councilman Griggs.
Here.
Councilman Howe.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Bill, I want to interrupt you. I want to make a motion that we go back into the executive session on personnel issues.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Imagine you can. Whoa, big, oh, bring it back. Big copy. You're not. I've watched the movie and I tried to figure it out and it really doesn't. Really? This is the crap out and then the second play. Really? You're old enough to remember that.
Reconvene, and there's no action to be taken at this time. Treasurer's report. Or wait, no, I take that back. Have you guys looked at council minutes? And do you have any questions on what was written? Any changes, typos, or anything like that? Treasurer's report. Any questions on that? We did have a budget meeting earlier today from 2 o'clock to, I think we finished up around 4. And went over a few items. Overall, we're doing pretty good other than our insurance has gone up, our workers' comp has gone up, our vehicle insurance, building insurance, that all went up. Of course, our fuel expenses are kind of up right now due to everybody else's fuel prices. So overall, we were looking pretty good. There's some items, where we had to spend more money as far as in our sewer department, repairing some pumps and repairing sewer lines. I did want to bring out the folks that over here on Carolyn, just east of 178 by Steinbeck. We had a sewer problem where the sewer plugged up a couple of weeks ago at 4:30, and it was on Friday. We then called out Mountain Home Sewer Department, where they have the auger on the truck and camera, and helped us out that night. Found that there were tree roots from the oak tree right next to the sewer line, and they augered through it, made a flow again. They had a 6-inch opening on an 8-inch pipe. Then we later went and dug that up to replace that pipe and found that the pipe itself was over 9.5 feet under the roadway. Okay, we had to switch out that hose to go with the extended hose to reach down there far enough to get it. What I'm trying to tell you folks, okay, that backhoe if we have to replace our sewer lines, that thing ain't gonna help us, okay? I mean, this would be something that we would need a track hoe to replace that whole line from manhole to manhole, because there ain't no way we could dig up that street at 9.5 foot deep. It's just impossible with the equipment that we have. So this is an issue that we're gonna have to look down the road. I am checking in with Flippin. They ended up bringing in a company that glue and sleeves to their sewer lines, a lot of their sewer lines. So that might be an option that we're still checking into seeing how they got that program started in Flippin. But just the couple, they ended up putting an 8-inch PVC pipe in, 18 foot long, because it was split all along the side. There were 2 penetrations where the root of this tree went into the PVC pipe, wrapped around in there, and then with the, what do you call them, the wipes that people would flush down the toilet, they got caught up in the root system and plugged that line. And until the mountain home cleared it, it started flowing. The coupler, okay, itself, and we had to use 2 couplers, they're called Timex. Those were $585 each. Okay. The pipe itself, about $150. We worked on that system, 2 guys, 4 days, 8-hour days, okay? Plus I had our public works director and another employee working on that system. So we have a lot of time involved in that. Just that one repair. We have many more in our town. So,
I got a question. Under street fund, 7480 is the number. It says $29,950 to replace damaged guardrails.
yeah, that we received when they had an accident on River Cliff. The gentleman ran into the post, the wood post, and took out the cable and section there. Geico was contacted by us, and we advised them that that needs to be replaced, and that replacement has to meet state guidelines. So it had to be a metal guardrail put in. So that was the check that we received. That was the estimate for putting that guardrail in. So it cost us $0. We got reimbursed for that $29,950, but we had to pay the company that put that in $29,950.
Did you guys get 3 estimates?
No, but we dealt with the insurance company. The insurance company is the one that paid for it. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Are we gonna appoint a new chairman for the budget committee?
We may, I mean, that's gonna be up to the budget committee, really. When they meet. Today we only had myself, Paul, Marty Nichols, we had Lynn Nichols, she kind of sat in also, and Tony Reynolds. So, we'll be working on getting more people in, hopefully. Any other questions on treasurers? We'll move on. You guys had a chance to look over police report, fire report, public works. Any questions on any of the fire?
Jonathan, did you get any help from the county? We just said that you guys have lost something.
We no longer have use of CAD at the moment. They claim that there are no more license availability. So we're going to handle people off the CAD at this moment. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do to replace that.
You're working with the fire department.
Yeah, we're there's a few options that we're looking into to find out which is gonna be the most cost effective.
Can you elaborate on what that CAD system does?
So what the CAD system does, that is to direct, everything that's in that. So dispatch, as they're typing it in, it's a mirror of that screen on our screen so that we can see who's the caller, what their phone number is. And a lot of times we'll get a phone call saying, hey, if you look at CAD, we've got a call waiting on you, and we can do that. It allows us to, if we make a traffic stop, do it in CAD if the radio is busy, so that we're not jamming the radio, we can set those directly to dispatch. There are a lot of benefits. It also allows us to see what the history is in every place that we've been to. So if we have a history with the residents, be it violence or a history of domestic, problems, that comes across CAD. To be aware, this is what happened last time, kind of thing. It also has a button, emergency functions. So if you hit it, if something was to happen, it automatically alerts the county, and they can back up to your location. Like I said, according to Chief Deputy Hollingsworth, he said that all of the CAD licenses were now filled with county officers.
And it sort of makes me mad because we may have to see that goes to the county. And there's nothing we can do about it.
Is there anything that can be done about it?
I don't know if we can put an injunction on him or what.
Right now, I'm trying to talk with them to find out what some of our options are. So we're looking at a few other options. We're looking at the same dispatch fire department uses, because that piggybacks off of their CAD. We wouldn't have all of the same functions, but it would be a fraction of the cost.
And that's a big safety issue.
It is. There are, like I said, there are a few things. I don't know their budget, and I don't know.
It doesn't matter to our taxpayer money.
I understand.
Police officers that are and this is a directive from Hollingsworth.
Yes,
And do we know how many licenses they have?
do not. To my understanding, I was told that it is one and done kind of thing. They buy it and it just covers everything that's under their dispatch. Again, I haven't verified that information yet.
This was all purchased under the OEM, wasn't it?
Originally, my understanding, it was all purchased when it was OEM before it was moved into
Into the jailhouse. Into this.
So I have a question. So is it delivered to the city as a whole, or do you have 4 officers, every 4 officers gets that?
Yes, so we all have it.
So put them all there, it's all of it.
Yes, it's all on.
It's not that we want one and they want one, if you or something, it's gonna be all of it.
Yeah, it's kind of an all or none thing. And like I said, we're looking at the cost of it. For us to buy CAD ourselves, we're looking at anywhere between $150 and $200 per unit. To get a license just for us. So, like I said, I've still got to have some talks with Chief Spence that with them and see what their plan is, and kind of go from there.
Was there any prior notification of this?
No, we were actually told that CAD was having some major issues. We've been without CAD for about a week at the time, maybe a week and a half, and we were told they were just having issues, and then I received a phone call that, no, actually, you're not getting it.
Pretty serious issue.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
Any other questions on the report? Any questions on the parking report?
We did have a talk about the swim area. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do much this year with changing anything around or moving the floor or anything. I saw that we bought cable.
Right, we got table.
Okay, and we thought that we probably put it, get it going. It doesn't look like, despite all the rain we had today, that we're going to end up with a high water year. Just by our drought situation, so.
I mean, I got 2 anchors out there that I, pulled out of the water, where we could probably put it at the 695 swim area, and we can get S&M to turn around and use it all together. We can get it all together. We can probably set those anchors out unless we get some really high water. We can probably make do with just pulling it up and attaching it to the lower anchors, which is the upper portion of the new swim area. We can still do that. I don't know what our options are. I'd like to get that swim area at least there, and also make it known that there's no swimming over there at the launch area, but yet people continue to do that when people are trying to launch their boats. I mean, it's definitely amazing. So I don't know what we're going to need to do on that.
Unfortunately, there's no way for us to, there's no way for us as city police to enforce it. It's going to be a core and state parks and issue.
Okay.
We don't have citations for that. There's no city ordinances about, to my knowledge, about swimming off the dock and, where the swimming area is. It's unenforceable for us at this moment.
I'll get a hold of Core or Game and Fish and see if they have any teams still on it. So, right now we just, we got signs out there, no swimming, but
The only thing that we can do is if they're asked to move and they refuse and they throw a fit, we have a few routes that we can take,
disorderly
disorderly conduct, that type of thing. But it's usually just actions and usually not being able to allow them to move on the dock and do what they need to do.
I had a good contact number for Big Fish, the guy that's over the guys in, Baxter, Marion, and
is that Tim?
no, it's, Chris Mason.
Okay. I'll get with you on that.
Yeah, my speed now.
Okay. I got some Tim.
Now, he's a Davenport worked on him.
All right, any questions on planning and zoning? Notice that you don't want to be able to spend $20,000.
Rick, would you like to elaborate?
No.
Great. Well, I guess I'll just read part of the meeting and then just someone else has it, and that way everyone can not wonder what we're talking about.
Due to continued talk of our codes and now our comprehensive plan being outdated, the chair has exceeded an estimate on what it will cost the city to bring in outside help to update our codes and plans. The 3 options were discussed. 1, spend approximately $40,000 to see if that's correspondence to have outside help brought in to expedite the updating of our codes and plans. 2, the city council accept that P&Z can update the codes and will help to speed the process of approving or not changing P&Z, changes P&Z bring before them 6 months of the last changes is too slow or unacceptable, or do away with the codes for all cities, not just select few. Just on regular thought.
council members, 19,
Yeah, I just want to speak to, I was at the planning and zoning meeting and along with Councilman Howell, and I handed out a couple of handouts and I put them in the response. It says 421 and 411, it's citations right out of the Arkansas public code book. And we discussed that and talked about it a little bit. It just kind of explains, this says purpose of the commission, and this says enforcement of ordinances and regulations. Just some bullet points on what the planning and zoning commission can and can't do. It's good information for you to look at. If you don't copy, you can take a copy of it. Do you have any comments on the meeting? You were the only other person there.
I have thoughts. My only comments are I'm really glad we're getting some sort of plan together for tiny homes. I think that was very vital to the meeting, making it slabbed and so that we're not dealing with issues of the more dilapidated housing in 10 years. You know, tiny homes are cool, but we don't want tiny shacks. We don't want tiny dilapidated ones. So, kudos on getting ahead of that. Yeah, that's all I got.
You done? All right, on to chickens. I left some handouts at the back table. This is the kind of punch list for the proposed chicken ordinance, which has not been written up yet. Nothing is cast in stone, so I'm still taking any feedback. If anyone is interested, there's a section here that says what the city will provide to prospective chicken owners. And I actually have all that stuff up here. I've got the chicken coop designs, acceptable chicken coop designs. They go from very easy to construct to a little more complicated. I also have commercial chicken coop that you can buy. And again, they go from budget-minded to elaborate. I did not put the $3,900 chicken coop on there because I really didn't think anyone was that crazy. And all the other things that I put down here, basically, you know, how to get started. There's a very good article I found on the economics of having chickens, which is we've all figured out. Is not a very economical smart thing to do if you're just trying to save money on eggs. But anyway, so if anybody is interested after the meeting, you can come up and look through any of this stuff. This stuff will all be made available to anybody that signs up to get a permit to raise chickens. So if you have any questions and you don't want to ask them right now, I'd be happy to answer them if you want to ask them now. If you just want to contact me, I put my contact stuff on the bottom. You can feel free to do that. The best way to get a hold of me is either text messages or email. Because sometimes I miss taking my phone with me. But I do get back to people. I haven't started to write this up as an ordinance yet, but I will, and we'll probably have a ready-to-go ordinance, not this coming council meeting, but the council meeting after that. We'll probably have a finished ordinance to look at. And by then, hopefully anybody that has concerns can get a hold of me, and we can address those concerns. So, any questions right now that anyone might want to ask?
I have a question.
Yes.
Or maybe not a concern.
Yeah.
Maybe a comment. But
Yeah.
one of the issues we dealt with when we were first going through this, which seems like 30 years ago, because of course, I think it's important to put in here that people need to look into their neighborhood covenants, or what do we call them covenants? Covenants, they're neighborhood covenants before doing this, because there were some cross wires and some poles and what superseded what, and it's important to, look into what you agreed to. If you didn't sign or weren't presented, that's another story, but, be sure to look into those.
Well, one thing about that, okay, once the city, if you didn't have an active association, they no longer are covenants apply. So they all fall under city, ordinance and resolutions.
I can't believe what I'm about to say, but that's all right.
Ticketing compliance officer.
Yeah. I know. Well, it's funny that you mention that, because everybody picks up on that, and, they all make jokes about the chickens are and whatever. We have to have a way to go around and look at coops that are actively functioning, and the way that we're going to do it is through the fees that people pay to do that. And you would think that would be a really hard position to fill, but you'd be wrong. And I was shocked, but I've already had 2 people that have told me that they are willing to do it for free and not be paid, but that will make sure they do get paid for it. But that one person is a lady that's lived here for her whole life and has tried to get this passed a couple of times, and has been very helpful in gathering information that I needed. So, we gotta have somebody go out. If a neighbor says, hey, this isn't in compliance, this is too close to the property line, or they've got, 20 birds or whatever, someone's gotta go out and check that out, and I'm not gonna dump it on the cheap. But, somebody's gotta go out and check it. So I talk to a lot of communities that have chicken ordinances, and that's exactly what they've done. So, it's a very interesting trajectory of what almost to the community is worked exactly the same way. Is that there's been a big interest in it, and then after a year when people figure out it's really worked, and then it's not economically feasible to save money on eggs, it goes down to about 10 or 15 permits. And those are the people that are going to do it no matter what it costs. So, and another thing, if anybody's interested, I can share it with them, is I did a lot of research on property values, because that's been a real buzz for people saying, oh, if people put chickens in next to my house, the property value is going to go down. And I found out some pretty interesting information about that I can share with anybody. Anyway, it's in the works, so if you have any comments, if anybody else does, and like I said, if you don't want to bring it up here, feel free to contact me. So, we're moving forward. That's it.
Next thing on the agenda was postage. Postage is increasing. So even a 74-cent stamp is now, I guess, going up to $1. Close to $1. So massive increase. This is another item on our line items with all our departments that we're going to have to increase that line item.
How do we get it?
Right now, we're over 33% of our budget spending on postage. So, which department over 33% right now.
So it's like 82 cents on July 12th.
What, how much?
82 cents on July 12th. From
74 to 82.
From
I wonder if they're going to still sell forever change.
This is the thing that they're saying. It looks like between our departments, we sold well over $1,000 on postage. That's close to the year.
I got got down here, the next thing on is easements. I just want to remind people of the clean ordinance that you to cut your grass up to the roadway and clean your ditches. Even though it's a city easement, the ordinance states that you must keep your property clean and cut and trimmed up to the city road surface.
From what I can see, there's only those properties that are really not going through it. I mean, the old lady that lives next door to me still gets hers done by herself. I don't know why other people can't do it.
I got one where he was, finally cutting the easement, but he was cutting the clippings out on the roadway too. So there's apparently a loophole is found. So we're in the process of correcting that.
I'd like to comment on that. I think, and I don't know if it's true or not, but if we have a really nasty ditch that's been nasty for a long, long time, maybe it was the city's fault or maybe it was the city's fault, maybe we could review that.
Oh, yeah.
They can't clean the ditch out because there's just too much crap in there, and they just can't physically do it. I think if you come to the city, we would probably work something out.
Yeah,
But we don't charge them.
And we're all about that. If they want to make a work order out, we'll go over there and check it out and take care of whatever needs to be taken if they can't do it themselves,
And the community's done that too. I mean, Kevin and Scott and a lot of people have gone over to people's houses and done things like that. I remember one house in particular, it was extremely bad. And we had a lot of people go over and smile, but you remember the did. So I agree, there's some remedy for that.
Well, if we can get the nastiness out of it and get the initial cut, it'll be so much easier for the next time. Sometimes it's just too much to do.
Okay, under old business, we had talked, last council meeting about Macalab. Got down here, case deal, the Macalab, for some ungodly reason, I don't know why, but we're not going to go with that due to the fact that it went from 137 to 141 plus an additional 24,000. So he ain't doing it. Okay, the thing that he tried to work. I said we need to get down. What the council approved was 150. You can't get below that, so we're not going there. But we do have a gentleman here from the old Cape Briggs, wasn't it?
No, that's a cat. It's okay.
It's actually case.
Yeah, the fire equipment over there is now leasing equipment. We also case construction equipment, copper machine equipment, and I am working with Mr. Bill and Merle to try to figure out how to better train you guys equipment, get you equipment that does more than one item, takes the place of maybe 2 pieces of equipment. We have some legal options available. Working through that deal right now. How far do you want me to go on that?
What we've discussed so far, there's many options that we're going to try to bring forward to you folks, okay, to decide. But one is going to be a lease option, which right now we're looking at a 5-year lease.
Yes.
And a 5-year lease, okay, would be a warranty for 5 years on that piece of equipment. After that 5 years, the city would have an option to buy it for $1.
We have, for municipalities, we have a $1 bond option at the end of that lease. So what happens is, they evaluate the machine, make sure it is what it said it is, and you have to rent it. And you can purchase that machine, for $1 buyout. A lot of municipalities are using this and utilizing this to keep the big loan off of your books. So your accounts, account payable, some look horrible. That look great because it's a monthly payment. Everything's taken care of. This also lends you guys the ability to start switching out equipment a little bit more regularly. gonna have that, we're gonna have equipment when you buy it out in that 5 years, it's still gonna be worth quite a bit of money. So you'll have that, and you can trade it in, or pick up another piece. It's a really, Northeast Water, Northeast Water Association Authority. Yes, authority over in Mountain Home, just at least if we on back. For a lot of things, in terms of guys, just keep your account payables down, you don't have to run in the books. And there are options, things to push on the shove that you, I don't want to say get out of them, but there are ways that our manufacturers will work with us to help municipalities with that. So it's a great option. You have some equipment that's going to bring some equity to the table and help that work out. We're looking at top of each and things right now.
Right, and one backhoe that we have on the street department, not the extendable, we want to keep that one, but the other one, if we were to, get rid of it, $25,000.
24/5.
24/5.
Yeah. I know you are. I know you are. So we're looking at that one, and I know the John Deere, we evaluated that. Your total trade-in right now is about $106,000.
And we're going to work on the John Deere thing.
Yes, sir. I'm going to work on the John Deere thing. I may be able to pull some things and make it more.
And we may be able to make some contacts too.
Sure.
So that, we're going to leave our options open here. So, we've already surplus the John Deere out at the last meeting. We, probably have to do the same for the backhaul. Okay. But, we want to see what these lease, payments are going to end up being. We'll hopefully have that information to you at the next meeting.
Definitely.
Can I ask a question? So in 5 years, are we ultimately just paying what the machine would cost, your cost of it plus interest and stuff? Is that how that works?
That is how it works.
It's just math.
It's just simple math. You're going to pay the cost of that machine out over 5 years. With some interest, we have some good interest on our machines like that. The good thing about the guys being in municipality is you can get some pretty good discounts from manufacturers. So it does help a lot with that. And I don't want to get too far off in the woods here or in the weeds, but we have shorter lease options that we can do that will get you newer equipment in 3 years or 4 years. Budgets are always, they're there for a reason. And so we're going to try to get one of those budget and still get that in the machine.
Now, the biggest thing that we have to deal with right now is our ADQ. Okay, the fine, and we have to show them that we are pursuing trying to fix our infrastructure, our trouble spots. So this is a piece of equipment that we're going to need, and we'll do the job that we have to do. Any other questions that you may have?
One thing that I thought about, we talked about the additional camera, and if, as I understand it, I don't know for sure, I believe I was told that camera will do several different size lines.
Yes.
And we're going to have a camera anyway. Is it better than the camera we've got now?
Yes.
Would it make any sense for us to go ahead and make a purchase of that camera? We're going to need it now, need it later. But we can't use it on the big line down to the draw until we get the right of way done.
Right. So Mike told me that he's got at least 200 manholes he can actually camera now. So if we got the camera, he can actually check those out and
my thought is, if we can swing the deal, it makes sense to me, because we've already got ADQ coming down. We're trying to show progress. If we could buy the camera now, and use it until we get equipment deal done, and right away, we get cameras in those lines, but if we use the rest of town, that might be beneficial to fronts of the office, it's gonna look better than ADEQ, we're doing something. We're spending some money to make it better. And buy it now, buy it later, I don't know if there's any difference. If we could use it now in the office, it would probably help us with ADEQ. So something to think about.
My question to you guys, you want me to pay something up for it, or?
How much, from the time that we're able to build these things and get our equipment, how much change can we see in those lines in that period? Are we talking massive change as in deterioration, or what I'm saying is that if we buy a camera, we throw them out, we don't get the worth of getting it fixed in 5 months, it's going to be a huge difference, and we're going to have
But I think the benefit would be the fact that if we got the camera, we can log all that data in. Okay, we know where those problem areas are between that number manhole. Every one of them are numbered. Okay, so between this manhole and this manhole, okay, we got a severe break. Okay, are we gonna dig that up, or can we put a sleeve in it? Okay, so if we have all that data from manhole to manhole, we can at least assess what we're gonna need to do as far as the city and how to repair that.
There will be grant money coming next year. Okay, the Senate, I told you guys, the Senate has passed the bill. Our Senate to review is coming back. We should vote on it this year. No money this year, this is the budget year. Next year, that money will become available for cities, rural communities, 3,000 or less, for help with their water and their wastewater systems. And I've contacted the guys working for both of the state senators, and told them what we had going here. So let me know when it's time. I'm going to be first in line to apply for that grant money. Now, meantime, we're dealing with the issues we've got, ADQ, but if we're making some progress, we're spending money buying equipment to fix our problem, we've applied for grants, we should be able to hold off some of more fines. That's what I think is important. But we're going to have to buy the stuff anyway, sooner or later, but if we do it now, we're doing something, whether we sit and wait.
And also, if we document everything we're doing,
Exactly.
does that help us with the...
That's all part of the comprehensive plan that we have to submit to ADEQ.
No, I mean, will that help us with the grant money also?
Yeah.
The whole thing is going to come together in a package, and hopefully, if we get a big enough grant, maybe we can replace most of the sewer system. But we're going to have some numbers. The camera's going to give us where these things are. We start to have some dollar figures to say, well, we need $1 zillion to fix this. So I just think it's a prudent move. And it's not that much money. We're going to have to spend $20,000 now or later. But it would look better now than we're going to get started. That's what I'm thinking.
Put something together, don't we can vote on it? Put it in.
With it being dry, those resources are seeking out and going through a lot more of your, they're going to keep water.
No,
So make sure your lines are always wet and it's dry as it's been this year. They're going to really start aggressively going through it.
Says the machine sells.
Yeah. No, this is what I had to fix. Drought 320.
Ballpark, what kind of interest rates are we looking at?
My last one was 6.2. It's anywhere from 4 to 6. Interest rates just dropped a little bit, so I had to get with the one of the finance guys who's going today. That's a great question.
Big grant shovel.
You'd be surprised at how many shovels we grant.
Maybe a one.
I've done enough of that Friday night.
Any other questions? Okay. New business, we're gonna have to fill the council seat, Ward 1, position 2. Due to that, we had a councilman resign, Randall Bowman, and on 5 May 2026. So that will be coming up at the next council. Right now, we've only had one individual submit a resume. And if someone else submits it, we'll have it in your box before the next council meeting.
We need, Travis up there,
If Travis wants to speak to us,
not necessarily for us, but for the audience.
Push the button.
it's already on.
How about that? Alright, so Travis Baker, 124 Blue Flower Point. I have put in my resume to be the next councilman, or at least until the election comes up. We need to keep progressing in this town, make sure that everybody's treated equally. We can make sure that the budget's right. We can make sure that we stay off of people's radar. That's all I want to try to do. So, that's what I put on the resume.
The other thing I brought to your guys' attention was the Arkansas paid leave laws for the state of Arkansas for sick leave. If you look it over, it might be something that we may want to look at. It seems like some of our individuals want to abuse our sick time that we're giving them.
So what is it you're proposing that to do with it?
It's up to you guys. Right now, the city gives 8 hours per month, and it doesn't matter if you're here the whole month or not. That might be something that you have to be here, work so many hours in that month, or receive so many hours of sick time.
Is that by city ordinance, or is it through state direction?
Right now, it's just in the personnel manual, so it was, I guess, ordinance when they passed the personnel manual. So it would be just a change in the personnel manual. State law, Arkansas does not have any law saying that we have to give sick time. Okay, it's a benefit that we do give them. I don't know if 8 hours per month is enough or is it too much. I don't know. I think that's where you guys need to decide.
You're talking paid sick leave.
Yes.
I mean, you're sick a week, you might get paid for a day, and the other 4 days, not so much.
No, you can bank up to 60 days, or have 60 days, or 60 hours. The 60 hours. So you can, other than police, they call on our open thing, and that's in that law too.
So every month you're banking an hour?
You're banking 8 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. The police department is 60 days. Unused sick leave can accumulate up to 60 days. Officers must secure 20 working days of sick leave per year, starting 1 year after employment. You gotta be here for a full year before you can even get sick time for a police department. But I'm just saying, right now we're getting 8 hours every month to our employees.
At the beginning of the month, or the end of the month?
It's at the
End of
end,
the month.
yeah. But that, what's happening now is, Had one call in today saying he was sick because it was raining. I think it's one word raining. It's an issue. Personally, I expect you to work for 8 hours if you're going to get paid for 8 hours. I'm old school.
Well, is it time for us to revisit that policy and address any changes we might want to make?
Send me an email what you guys think, what we need to do. Maybe we don't need to do anything. We just go on the road. Any comments?
Well, I know my work, I mean, they're pretty strict out there on, this work. They hired me to do the job. And if I take, you say for instance, I wake up in the morning and I got to even if I call them and tell them I'm not going to be there, I automatically get a point. Okay, we got a point system. You get, they upped it. It used to be 7 points, now it's 10. But if when you start accumulating points, so basically you can't predict, not what's off this, but always lost, but you cannot predict when you're in the city. Right? So I would get a point tomorrow. I could go in and put time in, and I get a week sick per year. But I get 4 weeks paid vacation because of my time put in. So basically I'm getting 5 weeks a year. My sick time runs from January to January. My vacation runs from my anniversary day, which is my higher day. Okay, so they run from August 14th to August 14th next year. So if I use all my sick time, and I still have vacation left, I can use vacation for if I was sick. Right? Vacation's got to be pre-approved.
Right.
And in reality, sick time's got to be pre-approved too, but you cannot plan when you're sick. So, tomorrow I call in, I'm sick. So, I miss tomorrow, I can put time in for that. I can put time in for Thursday, okay? I can put time in Friday. When I come back to work Monday, it's a holiday, I'm just using it for an example. I come back Monday, I've had a doctor's note for the next 3 days.
Right.
Okay, I don't know if that's the same way you're doing, but once you start occurring points, those points don't drop off to the year to the day. I don't know if that's a thing we should do here.
Well, do you think we need to look at what we've got now and see if we need to change it, or we're happy with it?
I would.
I think so too. I don't know if the rest of you would be interested in doing it or not, but maybe we need to look at it.
Well, what I'll do is, make a copy of that section of the 6 hearing and email it to you and take a look at it and see what is going to be beneficial. Like I said, a lot of this is being done on a Friday or a Monday.
A lot of
I wish I could tell that I was going to get sick on those.
A lot of companies, you gotta work a year before you get time off. I mean, you could even put stipulations on there, 6 months or whatever.
Well, let's just look at what we got and see if we want to change it.
Next thing on the agenda is the city flag and logo possible resolution 2026-R10. And I would like for council to contact their people they represent in their ward, okay, of our city flags. These are 2 examples. Which one will represent the city more than the other? I'm sorry, but the tower has been out of service for over 25 years.
Quick litmus test. Raise your hand for the right. Because the bull stones around, the big. Yes. Yeah.
And there you go.
Can I ask just real quick how much that flag costs?
Well, it's actually citizens' comments, so go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to be one down.
I paid $27 for it.
There you go. Not bad. How much was the other one? 75? Okay. Thank you.
And this one is two-sided, so it's double sided.
Yeah, and make it known, okay, the city did not buy that one.
No, I
For
paid for
personal
it.
money, my friend.
I paid for it.
And it looks beautiful. Not
But, I mean, the thing is, it represents what we have to offer here in this area, okay? I mean, you got boating, you got RVing, you got fishing, you got, water skiing, you got fly fishing, you got swimming, you got archery, you got bicycling, and you got hiking. I mean, you know, the reason I put this flyer, this flyer here, okay, in your thing was the fact that, it's supposed to, the flag is supposed to represent the city, okay? And they recommend that you don't put words on a flag. But I'm sorry, the state of Arkansas has Arkansas on it. Okay, so that's the only thing I found bad on the 12 steps. Okay, as far as citizens' comments, any other citizens' comments?
Tracy Poppy, 231 Woodstone. I think at the last meeting you mentioned a capital improvement plan that you either did or are going to send to ADEQ. Has that already been done?
No, that has not been done. I have a meeting with the group of agencies tomorrow, and we'll be discussing what we need to do as far as that capital improvement plan. We are still collecting data on that, and I want to make sure that we get all the data we possibly can to submit that before we give it to ADEQ. But ADEQ is part of these agencies that we're working with. Tina Toots is one that initially gave us that time, okay, and she's working with us, the group, and myself, and Mike, and Ed, who work on the sewer department. So we're all working together, and they're guiding us on how to write up that comprehensive plan and what we need to do.
So when that's done, will that be on the city's website?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And then one other very short comment in terms of the employee sick time. It might be worth talking to other smaller towns around to find out what their employee sick pools are, because, you know, generally benefits are part of a recruitment package and they're part of retaining good employees and things like that. And I've had employees who abuse sick leave, and it's problematic, I get it, but sometimes you have to be really careful about changing policies to deal with personnel issues.
No, I agree 100%. Thank you. Any other citizens' comments?
No, one question here. On the pond machine, what exactly is so special about this machine? It's backhoe, bush hog, just all in one special thing.
So, and I can leave this with you.
Yeah.
So, what we're looking at is a machine like this. Guys, I'll leave this over. It's for everybody. So it's an excavator, that's on wheels. So you don't have to trailer it anywhere. You can drive it anywhere on the road that you want to go. I know we have some easement things that are quite long here.
I'm wondering about that because we're going to have to buy a truck and trailer and pull it out on the other stuff.
You don't have to do this. So an excavator that has
Four-wheel drive.
four-wheel drive steering. So it's like anything else. We're actually looking at a drum mulcher, which eats trees, put on the end of it. We're looking at a brush hog, which you can mow with, Then it'll have a thumb on it.
First off, that's
Well, it'll have a ditch bucket attachment to it.
Yeah, so there's a tilting bucket, so when you go into dig, if you've ever operated, it's gonna take like tilt, and you'll be able to clean all of those ditches out and pull that stuff out of there. The really the neatest thing about this is you don't have to trade it. And it's a 24,000 pound machine, so it's stout.
how deep will it be?
It'll be 13.5. 13.5. The casing that we're looking at may be a little bit deeper. It's a heavy machine, about 34,000 pound machine. So, but yeah, moving trees because we're having film on there, picking stuff up, and rolling, driving it down the road. So
Well, we're gonna keep our case backhoe, right?
One the extended bucket.
But do we have a ditch budget for that now? Yeah, you can. I've seen it done 1,000,000 times.
But all our buckets have teeth on them, so.
Could you take a ditch bucket and attachment and put a ditch bucket on it? You can.
Yeah, you can, but all our buckets that we have, they all have teeth on them. So
Right.
we'd have to remove the teeth. Okay.
Well, you buy a ditch bucket for it attachment. Good case, like, case doesn't know, but anyway. Okay, I just kind of wondered what it was. Okay, so I see it now. Okay, good deal. All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
Are there any hour restrictions or anything like that with your lease?
So we are looking at our restrictions, my plan, and what I'm proposing. Talking with the guys, you usually use your equipment about 100 hours a year, give or take. I'm going to put in a lease for a 300 hour a year lease. So that way you've got plenty of time. Over 5 years, that's 15,000 hours. Guys, your old back over here's got 4,000 hours. Okay, so
We can't do it.
yeah, you can. 1,500 hours, sorry, 1,500 hours. So in 5 years, I'm going to see you guys getting that, which is going to help with every, we're not going to be in trouble with that.
Well, we gotta do all this repair.
No.
Well, we gotta repair on sewer.
Yeah.
So we've gotta do all the repairs.
If that's the case, okay, if we have to dig them up because they're broke, yeah, we'll need this piece of equipment. If we end up being able to just clear that line and put a sleeve in there, that's a whole nother process. And that's a different company that comes in and does all that.
Well, I'm just saying, what are the ratios you guys think right now are gonna have to be done?
That's the whole problem with this whole thing. We've been trying to collect data to find out where our problems are and how bad they are. Okay, we're getting a lot of infiltration on these heavy rain events. Okay, and the way the system was designed back in the 70s is that the last lift station where the force main feeds the plant, the sewer plant, okay, down at the bottom of the river cliff there, they have installed 2 variable speed pumps in there in lift station 16 that feed that plant. Problem is, those variable speeds are talking with the plant, and the plant's telling me, hey, I can't take any more crap, okay? You're gonna have to slow down. Otherwise, what happens is it washes out all the good bugs that are eating that stuff down there, okay? And the design they made was, well, it's gonna back up and come out that one manhole down there at the river cliff at the triangle. That's the design they made back then in the 70s, okay? And it's supposed to filter by going down through the creek. I didn't make that design. All I know is what should have been done is a retention pond should have been put there by lift station 16 when we have heavy rain events, but they didn't think about heavy rain events in the 70s, okay? Where we could hold, 500,000 gallons. And when that rain event got over, then we could still treat all that and just pump it back in and, send it over to sewer. This is what we're dealing with now, so
it's a work in progress, we're trying to correct it, and we're gonna do the best we can.
So what is the overage charge per hour?
I haven't seen that.
How many customers that you dealt with?
We have quite a few equipment that I use. Actually, on the Northeast Water, and on the Northeast one, I put a 400 yearly hours on that. It's not that hard, but, you know, if you think we need more, that's not, it's not a big issue. And if you're doing a buyout anyway,
And I think that's something that we're gonna have to work on, because the first year, we're gonna probably use more hours than we will just trying to get those transmission lines. Whereas first year, we're gonna put more hours on than the second year. And once we get those cleared, it's just basically maintaining
I don't think we'll run 300 hours a year in an average year.
in an average year. But the first year, I think, because we're gonna find our problems and we're gonna have to fix it. One of our biggest things is getting access roads to those transmission lines.
and it's really easy once you get to your area. Hours on a machine accumulate slower than miles on a car. Okay. So if you rent a machine for a week, a 40-hour week on that machine, usually most people run that machine back, even on heavy projects, they're going to run that machine back like 15 hours or 10 or 12. You rarely actually work a machine a full 40 hours when you've got it, 5 or 6 days, 6 days a week. A real easy thing to do is turn it off. When you get done digging, or you get to where your work area is, you just don't leave it on. That cuts down a tremendous amount of it. And a lot of your emissions like it when you turn it off in your emission system. So, if you guys can have it turn it off, I really think you're going to be. It's hard to put on these, if it's a tractor that's running road crops all day long, every day, and all night long, it's a lot easier to put out on that. But these machines are construction reasons for a specific reason, and then they kind of stick, in the shop.
Any more, Councilman, or?
I got a question. I know I voted no on that other machine last month, or the month before, but, if we go with the deal that he presents us, should it come out of the street, water, sewer, not just in one department?
Got two, water and sewer.
Okay, you got water and sewer and street, so it should come out of both of them departments instead of just one.
Yeah, those, maintenance fees that I said back when we said it was for this purpose, and water and sewer both contribute to these sewer lines. And so,
You gotta have more.
I know that, but instead of him absorbing it just on streets, or just streets in general, absorbing it, right? It's going to be a community machine, it should come out of everybody,
the way it looks, and we don't have the numbers yet, but the way it presented before the other way we were going, okay, we had enough money in the sewer depreciation and go ahead and buy the other machine, okay? And we were gonna sell the John Deere to replace that money, and it would have been about a wash. And we don't know what his numbers are gonna look like. We have money, I believe we have enough money in those two accounts we don't even have to pay it all at one time. This is a lease.
It sounds like, we'd be better off in the lease program because your warranty is for 5 years. Now, if we bought it outright, is it still 5 years warranty?
So, yes, if you buy it outright, the standard warranty on these machines are usually a 3-year or 2-year warranty. I have learned from my most father mentors that heard and living that I put an extended lease or an extended warranty on the lease to cover the entire lease, which takes all of that pressure You don't own the machine, so you don't worry about it. Right. Something goes wrong, you make a phone call, and we send a truck over here, or we get thousands to come over here, pick up and take it over there if something major. But everything's going to be covered.
What's the difference in the money at the end of the lease? How much have we paid versus what we could have bought it for?
We won't know that until the payment comes.
I can do nothing but tell you that I was unprepared for this meeting as far as having your numbers.
Well, we understand you're not prepared, but I see that's the catch in the deal, or the difference in the two deals.
Is safety, please.
As far as, doing a 5-year lease or paying
Or
outright.
just buy it. In other words, which is going to cost us more?
Well, it depends on how you look at it.
That's what I'm.
And the reason I say that, if you have a 5-year lease and you have it covered for 5 years, and
That's
you
a
have,
plus.
right, but you have a drastic, something happens. Equipment is equipment. Things are going to happen to equipment because of issues. So if you have a rear end go out on this thing, and that rear end costs you $15,000, which is very low good.
There's a lot of them like that.
Yeah.
Right. Do what?
But the lease would cover that.
The lease is going to cover that. So there will be repairs that need to happen on this thing, and because you don't own it.
Well, I understand.
Okay.
It was just the question I had was, the curiosity is, well, if we could rent it for 5 years and buy it for $1, what would it cost us to buy the thing outright on day one?
Can you please just provide us with a comparison between the different options? So
Yes.
that we can make that decision?
Yes, it will have a cash option and everything's option.
Okay. Any other citizens' comments? Mayor's comments? Unfortunately, the American Red Cross has unfortunately, American Red Cross has canceled the May 20th blood drive due to Red Cross staffing issues. That's tomorrow. So it's not going to be happening tomorrow. I told you guys I would check into this. Sam Hastings Law Firm will be sending out a check on an economic lawsuit. We'll let the council know when we receive the check, and it will be put into the general fund and added to the legal fee line item 6690. So that covers the $3,000 we just sent out to the Department of Labor filed a report in March of 2023 with Mayor Mike Taboo, and a lot of violations were never corrected. You can see a copy of the report on the city website under the April 2026 issue from the mayor's desk. In April of this year, the Department of Labor received an anonymous complaint that the city had violations, and the inspector, while she was here giving training classes, said she would do a courtesy inspection and found that previous administration did not correct previous violations, which we are in the process of correcting right now, causing an increase in budget line item. We've had to buy PPE, which is personal protective equipment. We've had to buy additional cones. We've had to buy additional signage. We've, had to buy a flammable cabinet for storing paint and such to be stored in the shop building. She's working with us, and we're getting those things corrected. And you can find all that on our website now. Also, it's a good one. You can also find an ethics complaint that was filed against myself and by a former mayor, and the results are on our website. Ethics Commission found that there was no cause for the ethics violation. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.